Good morning. It's a cool 63 degrees. We're talking about being rewarded. Being rewarded in life. I hope that you know how to be blessed. I hope that you know that if you do the right thing, you will be rewarded. There's a payoff when you do right, and there's a correction when you do wrong. Be rewarded. To be rewarded, listen well. Many individuals are poor listeners, ineffective. They do not listen and lose rewards. This is Walk and Talk 183. It's October 26th. And we're talking about in your life, you can be blessed. You can be rewarded by God. But it requires of you to listen and obey. Listen and obey. Here's Proverbs 4:1-2. It says, listen to the instruction of a father. Pay attention so that you may gain understanding. The text is saying everybody has authority over them. As a son or a daughter to a mom or a dad, a parent, listen to the instruction of a father, of someone in authority over you, someone wiser than you, someone older than you. Listen, pay attention so that you may gain understanding. The clear teaching is if you want to understand life, if you want to understand how to solve your problems, if you want to understand how to manage conflict, if you want to understand the complexities of life, if you want to understand how to be blessed, listen well. You can be rewarded in your life if you have figured out the art of listening. Listening is that capacity to take in data and absorb it. You hear it not only factually, but you begin to understand the data. Listening is the ability to set aside a distraction. Set aside something you would rather do, and you're going to focus on the data from someone wiser, someone in authority over you. Listen to the instruction of a father. Parents, dads, moms, teachers, coaches, bosses give instructions, constantly explaining how to do something, when to do it, where to do it. Don't ignore instructions. The way you do that is listen. Put aside, put down what you're doing and pay attention. This one verse, Proverbs 4:1, is the foundational blocks to education, to understanding. You get an instruction from a teacher, from a father, from a mother, and that instruction is not designed to hurt you. That instruction is designed to help you. Every day, the challenge is, will you pay attention? Will you listen well to the instruction, the data that you're receiving around you, or will you just simply ignore it? Pay attention to the instructions of people wiser than you, and you'll gain understanding. The text is simply saying, Proverbs 4:1, don't be lazy when you listen. So data comes in, you're paying attention, and you start to remember the instruction. Listening is not only setting distractions aside, but you collect the data, you hear it, and now you're working on not forgetting it. We have almost a default in our brain. We prefer not to collect data because we're distracted. But when we set aside a distraction and we begin to listen, we begin to concentrate, we begin to pay attention, we simply have the ability to remember better. Many individuals go through life not paying attention to the important things. An instruction or advice or guidance from someone older than you, someone with authority like a father or a mother or a teacher or a coach or a boss, you miss the building blocks of making good decisions. This text is simply saying there is a reward if you listen well. Listening involves setting distractions aside, receiving the data, starting to remember the data, and starting to understand how the data is applied. Listen to the instruction of a father. Pay attention so that you may gain understanding. So how do you listen well? If you want to be rewarded in life, how do you listen well? Number one, you set aside distractions when you're being taught. When you're receiving an instruction, you set aside distractions. You push aside what you're thinking about, what you would like to do, and you're going to receive the data, the instruction. As you receive it, you're going to begin to recognize, I need to remember this. If you want to listen well, you have to have the capacity to remember. If you set aside distractions, you'll be surprised at how your brain is like a sponge, and you will remember. As you begin to listen, notice it says pay attention. So we move from listening to paying attention, which is a more focused listening. Attention. Many individuals are distracted by a host of things. They think they can do multiple projects at the same time, and what often happens is many things get done poorly. Paying attention means you focus, you're zeroing in on the instructions, on the data that's coming in. Pay attention, and then the result says you may gain understanding. See, as we learn in pedagogy, understanding is a higher form of learning. Listening is foundational. Paying attention is a step up focused. You're focusing your brain. You're remembering what's being said. And as you remember, you're collecting this data. You're trying to discover understanding of the topic. It's a beautiful progression. The next verse says, I give you good teaching, do not abandon my instruction. That's Proverbs 4:2. For I give you good teaching, do not abandon my instruction. So the father, the mother, the teacher, the coach, the boss gives instruction, and then he's simply saying, do not abandon it. Now, data has come in, you're focused on it, you're remembering it, don't forget it. Many individuals just simply let it go in one ear and out the other. They're not focused in the listening process. They're not specifically zeroing in on what's being said, and they just simply forget. Understanding requires remember. Remember what the data, what the instruction is all about. All of this puts you in a great position to be rewarded, to pass the test, to understand the knowledge, the challenges. We go through life with many distractions. They're all around us. They never go away. If you want to be rewarded, listen well to people smarter than you. Listen well to people in authority over you. Coaches, parents, teachers. As they give instruction, as they share truth, listen well. Set aside things that distract you. Focus your attention and begin to remember what's being said. As this process continues, you'll get stronger. You'll have a more effective capacity to remember the data and begin to see how the instruction fits into life, whether that's an assignment in school or an assignment in a job site. That understanding puts you in a position to solve problems. Many individuals are not problem solvers, they're problem creators because they didn't pay attention. They didn't listen. They didn't understand. Instruction was given, and surprisingly, if somebody is giving you instruction, you may think it's not clear or it's poor instruction. But you'll be surprised at, you will begin to collect data and remember the data, and you're going to be in a better position to solve a problem. Problem solvers remember solutions. People who solve problems remember procedures. They remember challenges, obstacles. To be rewarded in life, listen well, pay attention. You'll gain understanding. That's what the text is saying. And then you don't want to forget it. Remember, what this means is you're going to have to prioritize what you pay attention to. Many individuals write things down as a way of paying attention. They take notes because you probably are not going to remember everything. Most people don't have a photographic memory. Most people can't just listen one time and then they remember everything. I want to suggest to you that you take the freedom to write things down. Listen to the instruction of a father and pay attention so that you may gain understanding, and do not abandon the instruction. Write it down. Call it your problem-solving notebook. Call it conflict management. Call it things to do, things to remember. Write it down. Let me give you a couple of practical suggestions on listening well. Remember, it's always helpful when there's a dialogue, someone is instructing, to repeat back to the instructor what you just heard from the instructor. And oftentimes, the instructor will affirm or correct. This feedback loop is a great learning loop. It's also a assessment loop for the instructor and for the learner, the student. All of this, as you begin to listen well and give feedback, repeat what you've been learning, will put you in a position of remembering, of not abandoning. You don't want to go through life ignorant. You don't want to go through life ignoring facts that are important. The rewards of life will come to you as you listen well, as you pay attention, you focus that listening, and you don't abandon the instruction. You remember what you were taught. I can remember in my life many times just trying to get through an instruction, an assignment, just hurrying, not focused. I had many other distractions and found myself walking away from that learning opportunity, learning zero, remembering zero. Not much will come out of that instruction by way of rewards. Take the opportunity to listen well, pay attention, laser focus, gain understanding, and move one step at a time at remembering. Give feedback to the instructor, ask questions, dialogue with the person doing the teaching, and keep focused on the facts, the data, trying to understand the instruction. Another suggestion: paying attention, listening well, and remembering and understanding encourages you to connect the dots. It's not just about data. It's not about disconnected comments. Connect the dots. Someone has referred to this as reading between the lines. Listen to Proverbs 1. This verse, Proverbs 4, 1 and 2, was written somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 3,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago. Listen to the instruction of a father, someone in authority, someone who's wiser, someone who's older. Pay attention so that you may gain understanding. That father, that mother, that coach, that teacher isn't giving you instruction. The text says, now do not abandon the instruction. Remember it. All of this puts you in a position to be rewarded. Rewards come. They may not come all at once, but rewards comes to the person who is teachable, who learns, who adapts, who listens, who obeys, who remembers. You say, Roger, I have a hard time remembering. You'll be surprised as you listen to people smarter than you, and you pay attention, you focus your listening skills, no distractions, you'll begin to understand and connect the dots. When you start connecting the dots, you'll be making decisions much quicker, more effective. You'll be in a position to solve problems, and you'll understand the problem, you'll understand the solution, and you'll be able to avoid that problem the next time. This is Walk and Talk 183. It's October 26th. It's 63 degrees. Just a beautiful 6:39 in the morning in Mesa, Arizona. I'm encouraging you, be rewarded, listen well. This Walk and Talk 183, we invite you to worship with us this coming Sunday, 8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11. And then 6 p.m., we invite you to bring your children or grandchildren. If you're single, come by yourself. We have classes for small group Bible classes for children, teens, and adults. We have worship services. There's a cafe that you can enjoy coffee and drinks and bagels and donuts. I want to encourage you, engage. Don't stay isolated. Engage. Be a great learner. Be rewarded for being a great learner. Listen well. Pay attention. Gain understanding. And don't forget what you've been taught. Have a great one.